Think about child labor. Child labor has been ubiquitous throughout history. Some of you may have heard me talk about child labor before. I won't dwell on it. But people say that child labor is a fruit of capitalism. Capitalism yielded you child labor. Because before you had capitalism, the kids were just skipping through meadows all day, whistling a tune. And then capitalism came along and they had to go work in a coal mine and get their limbs blown off. That's not so. I mean, children have worked since the beginning of time. And the reason they've worked is not that they have terrible parents. And this is a profound lack of curiosity when you hear modern Westerners talk about child labor. They know they're against it, right? And they're going to make sure we know that they're against something everybody hates. Super brave. They're going to tell us how against it they are, but they never bother to stop and wonder, what is the root cause? Even if you don't, these are the same people who say we need to consider the root causes of crime. And they say, just because I'm looking into the root causes of crime doesn't mean I'm excusing crime. Well, likewise, doesn't mean that you're embracing child labor to at least try to investigate why it is so ubiquitous. Why does it exist? I mean, aren't you at least curious why it exists? And the answer is because without it, families in poor countries starve to death. That's why. And you hear that, and suddenly you think, oh my gosh, I've been such a fool my whole life. That's so obvious. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the International Labor Organization, which is not exactly a laissez-faire outfit, said in a report about 20 years ago, this is from their report, poverty emerges as the most compelling reason why children work. Poor households need the money, and children commonly contribute around 20 to 25% of family income. Since by definition, poor households spend the bulk of their income on food, it is clear that the income provided by working children is critical to their survival. So there are two ways you could approach the child labor question. You could say, well, if a lack of food and a lack of labor productivity, in other words, if maybe if their parents' work could produce more, then the children wouldn't also have to work. Maybe we could work on that, get the parents' labor to be more productive, then they could produce enough stuff to have the purchasing power to buy more food, to buy more things, the kids won't have to work. Or you could just say, let's pass a law against this. And unfortunately, there are enough low IQ people in the world that they go for the second one. Let's pass a law against the kids working. We just learned that the kids are working because the family will starve if they don't. So let's ban them from doing it. That's not the best way to go about it. And Oxfam actually did a study of what happened when Bangladesh tried to get rid of child labor. Answer, the children starved to death or went into prostitution, which is exactly what all the libertarians tried to say at the time, but none of the do-gooders could manage to fit into their busy schedules 5 minutes to think about that. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, not that we celebrate child labor. We got to understand if you want to get rid of it, you got to understand why it's there. And what's gotten rid of it has been the market economy because it makes your labor more physically productive. My father, those of you who are on my email list may have read today. Today's actually would have been my father's 67th birthday, and he was a forklift operator in a food warehouse for 15 years, and that was not fun work. It's humid and hot. It's just extremely unpleasant. But because he had a forklift, he was able to be, 100 times more productive than he could have been with his bare hands. Imagine the weight of these pallets that he's driving around. There's no way he could do that with his bare hands. And certainly, how's he going to stack them that high without a forklift? It can't even be done. That allows him to command greater purchasing power in his wage. And basically meant that I didn't have to work. I could sit around like a bum reading books all day, which is what I did. So that's what got rid of it. It's not, they passed laws against it after it was 90% gotten rid of already. But if you just pass the law and you don't create the fertile ground whereby people can become more physically productive in their labor and thereby liberate their children from work, all you're doing is guaranteeing starvation. The logic of this is beyond debate. Can't debate this. That's the fact. But I bring this up because today, of course, we have less child labor than ever. Reason to celebrate.